Meeting to order for August 19th, 2014. And with that, I would like to make a notice or announcement that it is with much sadness that we announce the passing of our dear friend and colleague, Raymond Hutchinson. May we have a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. Although Raymond will be marked absent for tonight's meeting, he is here in spirit and in our hearts. So with that, may I have roll call?
Councilmember Schultz.
Here.
Burbank.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Svenby.
Here.
Dotson.
Here.
Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Kuntz. We have 6 of the council present this evening.
Thank you. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and I would like to welcome everyone here tonight. And with that, we do have one item to add to the agenda. It's 3.62, approve amendment for franchise application deadline and public hearing for consideration issuance of cable franchise. With that, Chair will entertain a motion for the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Greg Schultz. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. This has been approved. The first item on the agenda is 1.5 Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation presentation with Tim Penny.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to present. We try to get here on a regular basis to give an update on the work of the Southern Minnesota Foundation. And I'll be brief. I did hand you a packet that includes information you can look at your leisure. On the left-hand side of that packet is our annual report. And on the back side of that is a color-coded map of the kind of work that we do here in the South Central Minnesota, South Central, Southeastern Minnesota region. Our foundation, as you know from our past interactions, is focused primarily on 3 things. We manage community funds for some of the smaller towns in southern Minnesota to help them create endowments that they can then invest those endowment earnings back in their own community's future. Ellendale is among those community funds that we do manage in the region, and 23 others. We also invest heavily in early childhood activities, and you'll see on that map a color-coded array of dots. The circular dots, no, actually the square dots are the ones that we invest in early childhood. You'll see some of those dots in Steele County, because in the last year, with the help of a Bremer grant, we were able to bring provider training programs to help providers improve their business model and improve their academic offerings so more of these kids get ready for kindergarten. And we are also able to do some parent education courses in work sites, Federated, Viracon, Wenger, other work sites here in the city. So those are some of the benefits we've brought on that side, as well as book distributions. I think $10,000 worth of books flowed through our organization based on donors like Abdo and Capstone and Pearson Publishing, and we brought those books to early childhood programming in the county. And then last but not least, we have a few AmeriCorps sites here in the county where we assign these AmeriCorps personnel to early childhood programs, and they help in a sense to serve as a teacher aide to help especially those kids with social and emotional challenges to get them ready for kindergarten. The rest of what we do is entrepreneurship, where we invest in some small business startup loans. We've done a number of those here in the county and in the city over time, including a couple loans in the most recent fiscal year. And I believe that over the years we've done a good job of staying involved with the local chamber, staying involved with the EDA, so that you're aware of some of the tools that are in our toolbox to assist with local economic development efforts. So in short, that's sort of the story of our foundation. There is one new program that I don't think I mentioned the last time I visited with you, and that's an equity fund. We have about a $30 million endowment fund for our foundation. About $1 million of earnings come off that fund every year. That creates about 20% of our programmatic budget, which we then expend within the region. But our board of directors has authorized $3 million of that endowment fund to be used for equity investments. So going forward, when there are opportunities to join with others to get new businesses started here in our region, we'll have some equity funds to do that. We do raise about 10% of our budget locally. Owatonna, along with many other cities in the region, as well as every county in this 20-county region, have provided some level of support to us over the years. But it is 10% of our budget, 90% of the dollars we bring into the region from other sources. So we believe that's a pretty good return on investment, and we do appreciate the support that you have provided to us over time. So that's sort of a brief overview of who we are and what we do, and a little bit of an update, but I would stand for any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Seeing none, I think you've answered a lot of it, and thank you very much for coming.
All right, thank you. See you around town.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to the next item. It's the financial report, and I will ask Greg to read that.
Okay. A recap of checks over $20,000 are $24,423 to Mansfield Oil for airport fuel, $26,020 to Hartman Companies for golf course irrigation and tiling, $26,986 to Hartman Companies for golf course cart paths, $30,775 to the Department of Corrections for parks and golf course maintenance, $36,848 to Southern Minnesota Construction for golf course cart paths, $40,461 to the Steele County Auditor for the second quarter LEC costs, $81,415 to Hartman Companies for golf course bunker renovations, $115,475 to Blue Cross Blue Shield for the August health insurance premiums, and other expenditures of $259,676 for total expenditures presented of $642,081.
Thank you, Greg. Any questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to pay the bills.
We have a motion by Kevin Rainey to pay the bills. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Brett Svenby. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Moving on to consent agenda items, which include minutes of meetings, license permit requests, board commission reports, etc., all grouped into one motion. Any questions from the council? Comments?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Moving on to action items, we will go into 3.2.1, approve purchase agreement for property at 303 Minnow Springs Road, and we'll go to Troy.
City staff has been working with Quick Trip on the donation of the former Quick Trip store at 303 Minnow Springs Road to the city. Quick Trip would donate the property to the city for resale for the proceeds from the sale to go to benefit the city. So we had some discussion at the last council meeting about this. They would be donating the property to us. All the assessments are paid on it. We did agree that they wanted the property to be used for city purposes, and since we didn't have any city purposes for that, and it does carry some commercial value, we discussed about having them donated to us, and then we resell it and use the proceeds for some sort of city benefit. And they have indicated that they would like those proceeds to go for capital improvements for the city park system. And so at the last meeting, and we've done a phase one environmental, I mentioned at the last meeting, we did some environmental things to protect ourselves. And that property was given to us then, was conveyed to us on August 1st. And so we had been working with 4 different properties interested in the property. We did have 4 offers at the time of the last council meeting. And at the last council meeting, the council indicated that we should keep it open for a little over a week, put an advertisement in the paper just to let everybody know if anyone is interested to contact me to get any information and submit an offer to me. So we did leave it open until 4 p.m. on August 14th. There was a notice in the paper about that as well. And there were no new parties that expressed interest. So we still had the 4 offers that were previously submitted at the last council meeting. The highest offer for the property was for $150,000 minus a 3% realtor's fee for a net amount of $145,500. And that offer was submitted by Ryan Glassmaker. He's the owner of Easy Own Plus, and that was intended, he wants to purchase it in order to move his store to that location. And currently the Easy Own Plus store is located at 131 West Broadway Street in downtown Owatonna. The city has incurred about $2,512 in costs for the Phase 1 environmental study that we did, as well as the limited liability letter from the MPCA. And those costs will be paid for from the proceeds of this sale. The remaining proceeds of the sale would be put towards the capital improvements within the park system, as agreed upon with Quick Trip, and the plan was to use those proceeds for the new pavilion at J.C. Park, and that's been in our capital improvement plan for quite some time. So staff would recommend authorizing staff to enter into a purchase agreement to sell the former Quick Trip property at 303 Mineral Springs Road to Ryan Glassmaker for the net price of $145,500.
Thank you. Questions from the council?
Make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion by Nate Dotson to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Okay.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion there?
Nice job selling quickly.
Thank you. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Next item is 3.31C, 1365 David Gerhardt's Construction Garage at 1350 Cherry, and we'll go back to Troy.
This is a request by David Gearhartz at 1350 Cherry Street. It is located within an R1 single-family district and is located within the flood fringe. The ordinance states that lots over 30,000 square feet may have an accessory structure up to 1,500 square feet with a conditional use permit. So the applicant is proposing a 28 by 50 accessory structure for 1,400 square feet. There is also a small shed on the property that brings it up to 1,500 square feet. The applicant did combine, he had 2 lots, he combined them together to create 1 lot in order to do this attached building, and the combined lot size is about 35,000 square feet. The proposed garage would have 14-foot high sidewalls and would have a setback of at least 20 feet from all property lines. The property is within the flood fringe, and therefore the structure must be elevated above the floodplain. That would result in approximately 400 square feet of cubic yards of fill to be added in order to raise that structure up. The applicant does operate a tree service out of this address, although this accessory structure would be for personal vehicles, no part of the business. We did have a public hearing at Planning Commission, and there were no objections from any of the neighbors. And so staff would recommend approval of this conditional use request as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Move approval.
We have a motion by Brent to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
This time I'll take Kevin. Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you. And good luck.
Conditions of the plan.
With that, now we'll move on to ordinance 3.4.1, the first reading of proposed ordinance 614, Z235 Nathan Dotson rezone property at 575 Partridge to planned unit development for a new workshop.
Plus, you've missed the next item, 3.32.
Oh, Doug Jones, I'm sorry. I guess I'm going too fast here. We'll go back to that. There's Doug Jones and Elevation North Church. I told you I was going to miss you. With that, we'll move on to Troy again.
Okay, this is a request by Doug Jones in Elevation North Church. The property request is for 2002 Austin Road. It's owned by Mike and Mary Jo Haley. Formerly, the Haley Plumbing was located in that building. It is in a B2 community business district, and churches are permitted with a conditional use permit in those B2 districts. The property, as I mentioned, was most recently housed a contractor. It's been, retailers have been in that property before, and when the property does change use, it does require it to come into conformance with all our zoning and building code requirements. The code requirements for parking are that they need to provide one parking stall for each 4 seats within the space, and the building official has determined the occupant load to be 186 persons, therefore resulting in a parking requirement of 47 parking spaces. The code also requires that parking spaces must be paved and access to those be paved as well. Now, this is a small parcel and does have limited parking on there now. So the applicant is working on a parking agreement with the owners of the building to the south, and shared parking is permitted by code. However, the agreement needs to be approved by the city attorney and recorded against both properties. So the applicant is working towards that. Very little of the parking on those adjacent properties are paved, and so Planning Commission did hold a public hearing. They did have the property owner to the west comment on stormwater in the area, and any new impervious surface on this property would have to address stormwater, and I think we're aware of some stormwater issues in that area, hopefully to be addressed with some improvements to Austin Road in the upcoming years. The Planning Commission did recommend approval. There were a number of conditions added to that, one being that parking agreement be in place before a certificate of occupancy is issued, as well as giving the applicant 1 year to do the paving of the parking lots. And so staff would recommend approval of the proposed conditional use permit as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Good luck with it. Now we'll move on to the first reading of the proposed ordinance 614 for Z235 or 325 Nate Dotson's property. And with that, we'll go to Troy again.
The applicant is Nathan Dotson at 575 Partridge Avenue. The property is on I-2 heavy industrial currently. It is currently occupied by a woodworking business and a single-family residence. The applicant is proposing to demolish the existing outbuilding on the east side of the property and construct a 4,000 square foot building with an 800 square foot canopy on the north side of the structure. The existing easternmost building would be demolished, and the building has been surveyed to be over the property line. And then this new building would replace that and would provide at least a 10-foot setback off that east property line. This is in a area that has residential to the north, industrial to the south, and commercial to the west. So it is kind of a mixed area, and these planning and development rezonings are actually a good solution, especially when we have two very different uses, residential and industrial, on the same lot. It kind of handles some of the oddities of the lot relative to that area. The ordinance does require 12 parking stalls, although there would only be 3 other employees working on the site, and therefore the Planning Commission did recommend 4 paved parking spaces, one of which being handicapped. So we did hold a public hearing at Planning Commission, had no objection from the neighbors, and Planning Commission did recommend approval. with some conditions on it, and staff would recommend approval of this first reading of the rezoning from I-2 to PUD, Planning and Development Zone, as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Troy. Questions from the council?
I will not be voting. I will make myself available for questions.
Thank you. Questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, this is an ordinance. We'll take roll call.
Councilmember Schultz.
Aye.
Burbank.
Aye.
Rainey.
Aye.
Svenby.
Aye.
Abraham.
Aye.
With 5 ayes.
This has been approved. We will have the second reading in 2 weeks. Thank you, and good luck with that.
Thank you.
Next item is Resolution 45-14, accept FAA grant agreement for Airport East Apron Pavement Rehabilitation Project, and we'll go to Kyle with that.
That's actually me. If you recall, we did go to bids for some paving out at the airport, East Apron Pavement Rehabilitation Project. We did take bids and award the contract conditionally to James Brothers, contingent on getting both federal and state grants for the project. You have in your packet here the federal grant, and the amount is for $260,793, and we are expecting the state grant hopefully in the next week, and hopefully we'll have that to the council on the next council agenda. The city share for the total project cost would not exceed $32,532. And so we did make it contingent on both grants, so this is the first. They would not start work, or we would not enter into contract agreement until after that second one came in. So staff would recommend approval of the resolution authorizing the acceptance of the FAA grant agreement for the Airport East Apron Pavement Rehabilitation Project.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
I'm going to give this one to Dave this time. Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. We'll wait the agreement. Now we move on to Resolution 4614, the 30-minute parking on Phelps, and this will go to Kyle.
Good evening. The homeowner at 523 South Elm Avenue has contacted me, and I believe a few of the council members, several times regarding parking in front of their property. She runs a in-home daycare from the corner of Elm along the north side of Phelps back to the east. Frequently, she has had to, frequently and probably 12 to 20 times a year, contact the police department about cars that are parked that actually block her driveway during the school year, and it doesn't allow the drop-off parents to pull into her driveway and exit. We've been out and looked at the situation and feel that maybe the best step here would be to, from the corner to her driveway, limit that to a 30-minute parking area. We are concerned about others requesting the same in the area of the school when school is present or in session, but versus doing an entire residential parking zone, we feel this would be maybe a better step. So we do recommend approval.
Thank you, Kyle. Any questions from the council?
Motion approved.
Motion by Kevin Rainey to approve. Do you have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion there?
Wes?
Yes.
I appreciate what has to be done here, and I'm in favor of it, but I think maybe we need to have a conversation with the school about just parking in general up there. I don't know if that's ever been done, or maybe it's been done and I just don't know about it. But
Not that I'm aware of it, no. I know as far as the council and the school, we've not discussed anything like that. So maybe a very good suggestion that we do enter into discussions with them.
I think it's a chronic problem, and
Comment, Chris?
Pardon me?
Did you have a comment?
Nope.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just making a note.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. With that, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Next item is Resolution 4714, approve bids and award contract for 2014 Regional Stormwater Pond, and that, we go back to Kyle.
Last Wednesday, we accepted bids for the 2014 Regional Stormwater Pond. This is the pond that will be located on MnDOT property that is being purchased by the city of Owatonna. It is part of the industrial park overall industrial park stormwater plan, the mitigation after the 2007 floods. This would be the second pond constructed. The larger pond was constructed last year, and also using deed grants and TIF to pay for it. So we're through Troy's department and working with Daikin Applied, been able to secure funding for this from outside sources. So we received 5 good bids. The low bidder was Bornicke Construction of Janesville at $403,644. They are also the contractor that completed last year's pond construction and did a very good job. So our engineer's estimate was $520,000. It was 22% under estimate, and we recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate to approve. Do we have a second?
second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Good luck with that. Moving on to Resolution 4814, 4-hour parking north side of 100 block of West Main. This one we go to Troy.
Yep, so we have had some requests by the business owners on West Bridge Street for some more longer-term parking. A lot of this has been highlighted by Jaguar's construction project, and a lot of that work and employees have been using a lot of the public parking on that side. There was initially requests, for maybe some of the parking on Bridge Street to be made to 4-hour parking, and that's been attempted in the past. In discussing with some of the business owners, the north side of West Main Street, that 100 block, tends to be the back door of a lot of those businesses, and therefore is not utilized a lot by customers, and felt that that might be a good spot to do 4-hour parking for mainly employees. And it would be 4 hours, so it would allow for some turnover as well. And so this was brought before the Downtown Parking Committee, and they did agree that that was a good solution in that area, and recommended approval to change the 100 block of West Main from 2-hour to 4 hours. So staff would recommend that change from 2-hour to 4-hour.
Thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Brent to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Dave Burbank. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Moving on to Resolution 4914, accessible parking, 100 block of West Broadway, and back to Troy with that one.
And we also had a request by a business for an additional handicap parking stall on the north side of the 100 block of West Broadway. There is a handicap stall kind of mid-block, a little further down. And so the Downtown Parking Committee did look at that situation as well. And I think the policy is not to put a handicap stall directly in front of a particular business, because businesses do relocate, and they kind of look at a more comprehensive look at it. Looking at what we do have for handicap parking in that area, they did recommend to move the existing handicap stall on the north side of that 100 block, a little further west so that it is on the west side of that crosswalk, and then to add a second handicap stall closer to, also on that north side, closer to the Central Park. And the logic of putting those handicap stalls next to the pedestrian crosswalks there is, with a handicap stall, you need an open space for them to get out. And so the crosswalk is already an open space and functions well for that purpose. It also allows for, when that handicap stall is not used, it provides a little more visibility for the pedestrians using the crosswalk. So they were very particular about the placement of the handicap stalls. So they would recommend that the handicap stalls be placed on the west side of the crosswalks on Broadway, one at mid-block and one at the corner of West Park Square and Broadway.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Comments? What's the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Greg Schultz to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Nate Dotson. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. Thank you. Moving on to miscellaneous items, we have 3.61, approved to advertise for bids for sanitary sewer lining project, and there we go to Kyle.
Last year, as part of the sanitary sewer rate increase, we increased our line item of our budget for sanitary sewer rehabilitation, and this is following through with that. This would line approximately 12,500 feet of sanitary sewer with cured-in-place liner. We expect that the cost will be about $375,000, and recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the council?
Like, this is a good plan we have going, and I make a motion to approve it.
Thank you, Greg. And with that, do we have a look for a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin Rainey. Any further discussion with this? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved also. Now we move on to the new one, 3.62, approve amendment to a franchise application deadline and public hearing date for considering issuing of a cable franchise. And there we go to Chris.
Thank you, Les. The city previously published a notice of its intent to consider the issuance of a cable franchise in accordance with Minnesota law. The notice indicated the applications were due by 4 p.m. October 1st, and a public hearing regarding any applications received would be held at 7 p.m. on October 7th. In order to allow for the possibility of fall construction, the city hereby gives notice that the deadline for applications and the date for the hearing on the applications is amended and changed. The amended dates are as follows. Applications must be received by 4 p.m. on September 2nd. Applicants are requested to be present at a public hearing before the City Council beginning at 7 p.m. on September 16th. Staff would recommend approval.
Thank you. Now, this has been accepted by the applicants or the...
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. What is the council's comments from the council? What is the council's wishes?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Nate Dotson to approve. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
Second by Greg Schultz. Any further discussion there? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This has been approved. We do have one question, and I've talked to Chris a little bit about it, is that with the passing of Raymond, we have a vacant spot, and I would like to have some discussion starting with that.
Yeah.
And if you have anything you'd like to present there, Chris or Mark.
Our charter addresses the eventuality of a vacancy, and the charter provides that if a vacancy exists in any elective office, the City Council vote of a majority of the members remaining in office shall fill the vacancy until the next regular city election, when a successor shall be elected for the remainder of the unexpired term. You've had the experience doing this in the past when Councilperson John Moen left office. We also have an ordinance, a companion ordinance that accompanies the charter, and that's section 100:50, which provides that when a vacancy exists on the council and where there are more than 2 applicants for the vacancy, the council shall conduct a preliminary election among its members. Each council member shall vote for 2 of the applicants, and subsequent ballots shall be taken until 2 nominations remain. A final ballot shall be taken between the 2 nominees, and the nominee then receiving the simple majority shall be sworn and seated. That's what's provided by our charter and by our ordinance.
We do have about 3.5 months before the next council person would be seated.
I believe that the charter would call for the vacancy to be filled by the council in the exercise of the charter.
So with that, would we advertise for applicants to apply for this?
I'm not certain, again, what was done when Mr. Moen left, but...
That's what we did at that point, is we advertised for applicants.
Chris is handing me something to tell me that that's what we did, so... and in that instance, applications were received from 9 people, interviews were held, and then the vote was taken. I'm not certain at that time whether we did the preliminary, but that should be followed too, so that there would be votes taken on 2.
I think we have to give it some time for people that if are interested to apply for this.
Yes.
The next question would be asked is that we have applicants available that have already filed for that position. Can we discriminate against or for, or what do we do?
It would be open to,
whoever.
Persons, right. We have to declare the existence of a vacancy, and we do that by resolution.
Okay.
And that resolution we could take up at the next council meeting.
Okay. So at the next council meeting, we would declare the position open and request applications to apply prior to the next meeting so we can get the position filled.
Yes. So it'll be by the second meeting in September.
Okay, very good. Any questions from the council on this? Or comments? If I remember correctly, that's the process that we went through the last time.
Too much transfer.
And I think we should follow it this time. So we would request that resolution or whatever is presented at the next council meeting.
Staff will prepare that resolution to council action on September 2nd. Yeah.
Anything else to add to that?
I don't believe so.
With that, I will move on to public comment, and if anyone in the audience wishes to speak on anything not on this agenda, please step forward to the mic and sign in, and we ask you to limit it to 2 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ben Flemke, live in Owatonna here. Just had a question on the proposed budget for 2015. The numbers just don't quite add up to what was reported in the paper, claiming that it's a 2.2% increase over last year. But last year there was some one-time expenditures, if I remember reading right. And this 2.2% that I'm seeing is above and beyond that increase in last year's revenue. For a total, it's close to $1 million difference that I'm coming up with, and I don't know if that can be explained at all, or if I'm misunderstanding something.
Yeah, Ben, it might be best if we could set up a time and we'll go over that. Rhonda and I will go over that with you, if that'd be all right.
That's what I would recommend, to sit down with Chris and Rhonda, and I'm sure they'll be able to explain that to you, rather than try to get into a lot of detail right now.
Okay.
I think that would work out the best.
Sounds good.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to council comment, and we will start with Greg.
I just want to say it, so it's sad to hear about the passing of Raymond today, and I would ask that everybody keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. I truly believe Raymond's heart was bigger than he was, and he gave it all to the city, so.
Thank you. Dave?
Just to send condolences to the Trulson family, and good luck with the emotions this week.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, same condolences to the family. It was an honor to sit next to Raymond. I've been here the shortest amount of time, but a lot of respect for Raymond and the job he did in the city. Also want to thank Al Strain. Al's been a reporter, I don't know how long, but he's, the night I got elected, my first phone call was from Al, and Al, you've been great to work with, and good luck to you in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
And Brent?
Just the same, just want to express condolences to the Trulson family.
Thank you, Brent. Nate?
It has all been said, but Raymond will be missed, and thoughts and prayers with the family.
Chris?
Just to let you know, I will let council know when funeral arrangements have been finalized. I'm sure everyone will want to know about that. I do have some other announcements to make. Wednesday, August 20th, garden time at the library, 9:30. Create a Craft also that same day at 10 a.m. Thursday, August 21st, there is a book fair starting at 10 a.m. Also, that is the kickoff of the Imagination Library. It was an activity that was brought together by Rotary, the Owatonna, the Library Foundation, and the 2 Rotary clubs, and I'm missing a third one. But that kickoff is also on Thursday, August 21st. Friday, the 22nd of August, we have Movie in the Park. Yogi Bear begins at 8:15 in Central Park. Unfortunately, we're at the last weekend of the season for the water park already. $2 admission all day on Sunday, August 24th. Wednesday, August 27th is garden time at the library. There is also going to be a 6th annual river cleanup that will be held on, when is that?
September 20th.
Oh, here it is. Aha. To be held on Saturday, September 20th. That's a watershed-wide river cleanup that we've been doing for a while. And then finally, the Owatonna Early Edition Rotary Club is going to be having a corn feed, all you can eat. They also do deliveries, and the proceeds are for the 4th of July fireworks show and kindergarten books, Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So would urge all of you to partake of those activities. And that's all I had.
Thank you. And next week, or this weekend, I think we have the air show fly-in at the airport.
Is that this weekend?
Which is a wonderful time for everybody to enjoy looking at different airplanes and different things out at the airport. But as far from my standpoint, Raymond and I have been friends for close to 50 years. He's going to be missed. My condolences to the family, and I wish them all well in the future. So thank you. And with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Kevin Rainey. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent Svenby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.